Welcome to a special edition conversational pace shoe review. This is not a trail shoe. This is in fact a road super shoe. We have the Hoka Rocket X2 today, and we have actually taken it on a couple of road runs, and we want to talk about it. So we are putting a road shoe review on the trail channel. Finn, how are you?
You know, I'm doing great. And you know, in the Matrix, when the guys like to Neo, there is no spoon. Well, guess what? There is no road shoe. It's just shoes. And you know what? While Elon and Jeff Bezos have been launching rockets into outer space in these increasingly heated carbon-plated shoe wars, let me just tell you, Hoka is now launching rockets too. It's official.
That was amazing. And
I'm doing great. And I'm doing great.
Hoka needs to hire you. Yeah, this is like a complete revamp from the original Hoka Rocket X. This has been many years in the making, and Hoka definitely took their sweet ass time with this, and I now understand why. Little disclaimer, these shoes were provided to us by Hoka, but we are under no financial obligation to say whether we like a product or not, because we want to keep these reviews authentic and beneficial for you. Nobody will get to preview or watch this footage before it gets published to YouTube. Do not submit videos of your stunts. We will not open review them. I was just thinking of ridiculousness. Rob Dyrdek.
I hope, by the way, that when you go to title this episode, this is why Hoka decided to take their sweet ass time.
Yes, that would be great. We're going to have a lot of potential episode names. This Hoka Rocket X2 is $250. My pair came in just over 8 ounces, which for reference is heavier than the Nike Vaporfly Next Percent, but very similar, if anything, maybe a smidge lighter than the Alphafly and Alphafly 2. We're looking at 36 millimeters stack in the heel, 31 millimeters in the forefoot, making for a 5 millimeter drop. The upper is a very thin, like ripstop style mesh. They're still calling it a mesh because it's definitely not, like a true ripstop nylon, but it has very, very minimal stretch, like just a little bit. It reminded me most of the material on the first generation Nike Vaporfly Next Percent. There is a very thin, super stretchy and soft tongue. It's just one thin piece of material. There's no foam, and it's gusseted, and it wraps all the way around under the insole, so you get a really nice secondary layer. Finn, what was the term they were calling it? The internal.
Oh, the internal midfoot cage.
The internal midfoot cage. There you go. That's the official term. They gave it a very nice internal midfoot cage. There is just a little bit of foam around each side of the heel. Floppy heel cup, no plastic there. Going for minimal, lightweight, fast. The midsole is where we're seeing the biggest leaps from Hoka, perhaps ever from them. It's finally not.
I mean, they did
EVA.
say time to fly.
They did. No, I think they say fly human fly now. It's time for the humans to start flying.
Fly, you fools.
Finn, I think you've just gotten fired from your potential marketing job with Hoka.
It was a short tenure.
Yep, it was. I think Hoka they've figured it out for this one. It is not EVA. It is a PIBA midsole foam. So that is I think it's like a polyurethane, like it's a plastic-based midsole foam that is no longer EVA, and it now has all those super foam qualities like you see in Nike Zoom X, Saucony Power Run PB, Asics Flight Foam Turbo, and it's now in the cool kids club of super shoes with a real super foam. Carbon plate throughout the entirety of the shoe. They tweaked the shape on it. Apparently it's more spoony. It's got more scoopage. And the whole point of that is it's a little bit closer to your foot towards the heel. It's farther away from your foot towards the forefoot. And what that does, it really allows the foam to squish down when your foot hits the ground. You load up towards the heel and the midfoot, and then it propels you forward across the toe. That's the magical combination of super foams and carbon plates. You need both. You can't just throw a carbon plate in a shoe and call it a super shoe. That's what Hoka's been doing for the last 4 years, and they've not been super at all. Other companies have put super foams in without the carbon plates, and they're all over the place. You have to have perfect biomechanics for those shoes to work for you. So when you combine the carbon plate with the super foam, you get a true super shoe. The outsole is Hoka's just proprietary outsole rubber. Yeah, there's really not much to note on this. It's 3 pieces. There's one on each side of the heel and then a big piece in the forefoot. It's pretty standard ass rubber, and it seemed like it checked the boxes good enough. So yeah, I guess we're not really going to talk too much on behalf of the durability, but how much have you run in this shoe, and what kind of running did you do, Finn?
52 glamour miles in this shoe. It's definitely a workout shoe. There's no question about it. But I will say, not just a workout shoe, it's an all-around workout shoe. I could see myself, if I was training for a marathon, doing those like longer 20-mile, 4 weeks out marathon type workouts in this shoe. I would also call it a coach's worst nightmare, because you just end up doing a ton of unintentional workouts on your runs. Like, you'll do your first 2 miles at, whatever all day aerobic pace, but you just find the shoe like taking over control, and you're all of a sudden ripping off like 5:30 miles unintentionally. So 52 miles in the shoe on the streets of Salt Lake City. Just an absolute blast. Like, in such a confidence restorer too, for somebody like myself who has been mired in the depths of like just lacking inspiration, lacking motivation to get out the door and do hard work. This shoe makes you want to do hard work, and you feel good doing it. I'm unabashedly stoked about this shoe.
Yeah, I mean, the reason why I trained for a road marathon in the fall of 2021 was because I just wanted to try out some super shoes and see what it was all about. And it made training on the roads and doing road workouts and road long runs so much fun. And yeah, that's what, this shoe brought me, that kind of joy where like, it's actually fun to run on the roads in a shoe like this. I only have 23 miles on my pair, 2 easy runs, but I did race. I got in a 15K hilly road race in these shoes last week. I mean, I was completely unprepared. The only reason I did that race was because I had these shoes and I wanted to see how they were, but I was so pleasantly surprised at how awesome these felt. So I got to, I hit so many different paces because it was a very hilly 15K road race. So I had some steep downhills where I was just going as fast as my legs would take me, some steep uphills where I had to, climb, get on my toes. And then there was a couple flat miles where, you were just cruising. And yeah, these are so fun. And like, I think these are absolutely in that super shoe type, it's in the super shoe conversation now after doing a race in them. In terms of the fit, I guess how is the length, and what other super shoes have you worn that you can compare this to?
Oh my gosh, you're going to have to correct me here in real time. I have minimal super shoe experience. Like, I have not run in the Nike line. I have run in the Hoka Carbon 3X or X3, and then I've run in the Saucony super shoe as well. But
the
Endorphin Pro. So this is my third super shoe, and they say third time's the charm. So
okay, yeah. How was the fit for you on this one? Like, especially compared to the Saucony.
Fit was great. I know. Well, again, I don't race on the roads very often, if at all. But I've heard that you do set to some extent in certain shoes sacrifice comfort for speed, and I felt like, again, for someone like me who has a wider forefoot and just a bigger foot in general, I felt comfortable in the toe box, etc. I love shoes that have extremely thin upper material. I'm not someone that likes thickness there. I've already used this reference, so it's probably going to become cliche, but as Lil Wayne might have said if you're here with us in this shoe interview, I like my midsoles fat. I like my upper material thin. And that shoe delivers this on all of those areas. I like the bumper pads on the heel. Like, you know, you look at this material on the heel cup from a glance, you're like, oh man, is this stuff just gonna like chop up my Achilles? Is it gonna just tear up the back of my foot? No, they've actually had the thoughtfulness to throw some bumpers in there, which I love. So for a high performance shoe, I didn't feel like I was sacrificing nearly as much comfort as I would have anticipated.
Yeah, the upper does really just wrap around your foot. Like, you know, I wouldn't say there's much in terms of like movement in the forefoot. Like, I don't really have a ton of additional wiggle room in the toes, but do you need that for a shoe like this? Like, I don't really think so. Like, I've run in quite a few super shoes now at this point. Like, I've run in both like 3 different generations of the Nike Vaporfly. I've run in the first generation of the Alphafly. I've run in every Hoka Carbon X and the first Rocket X and the Saucony Endorphin Pro 2, Saucony Endorphin Speed 2 and 3. I've tried on the Asics Metaspeed Sky. Haven't actually like trained in it. Same with the Adidas Adios Pro 2. And from a fit standpoint, this definitely does have a little bit more room everywhere than the Nike super shoes. I would say from a fit standpoint, it's closer to the Saucony, which has just a little bit more room. Definitely still a race feel. Like, this is probably still one of Hoka's narrowest shoes, but because the upper is so thin, the upper can kind of afford to push up against your foot or your toes, and it's not gonna leave any, you know, massive amounts of, you know, chafing or overlay crinkle, because there just isn't that overlay there. So, you know, that's where I think Hoka took a little bit of a gamble by going super minimal upper to have a little bit lower volume fit. And I think it works just fine, because there definitely still is higher, like more volume in the shoe than definitely like more volume than the Nike Vaporfly Next Percent. It's wider in the heel and the arch than the Alphafly. The Alphafly's forefoot is actually somewhat round. It's just kind of unique shaped, which is why it doesn't work for some feet. But this one actually has a more just kind of normal shaped toe box, which I feel like was most similar, at least with the super shoes that I've worn, to the Saucony Endorphin Pro. I also got sent a size 10, which totally fine. Like, it fits true to size. For all the road racing that I've done, I've gone down that half size and gone to a 9.5 and like worn the shoe so my toe is like right at the end. Because I like that even more precise fit, because I have a slightly narrower foot. So if I were to buy the shoe again, I would probably go to that 9.5, assuming I'm, you know, running flat, minimal hills, training for, you know, road races. From a pure just training standpoint, like, I'm probably just going to log a ton of miles in this shoe. I like the 10 better then, because then it's a little bit more relaxed, a little bit more comfortable. Yeah. So depending on what you're going to get this shoe for, and, you know, where you're going to use it, or if you've had problems with some super shoes being a little bit too tight or too wide, if you've got a very narrow foot, you know, either stay true to size or go that half size down if you're wanting that, you know, extra precise fit.
One more thing that I liked about the technology of this shoe, you and I were talking many days in advance of getting the shoe as to whether we could bring a super shoe like this to trails. And I think one of your concerns was like, when are you going to just massively roll both ankles in these shoes? I have been shocked in the 50 miles that I've run in the shoe so far, how equally soft and stable it is. Like, I don't want to.
You just wait till you take it on a trail.
I am shocked at how stable this shoe is.
Yeah. You just wait till you take it on a trail and see what true super foam does on a trail. Because if it's not like perfectly flat, like if it's off to the side, like you just get bounced in every direction. So I'm really curious to see. I haven't gotten to take this shoe on much dirt yet, but I absolutely am going to, because I want to see how much I can get away with in this shoe before it becomes stupid. So maybe we'll have to do a short follow-up at some point once the snow melts.
Can we talk about what this shoe was made for and like how we would use it?
That's the next segment of this show. What do you got?
All right, well, I want to lead with a little bit of a preface. I know that until now, we've talked about how Hoka was way behind the competition on super shoes. Carbon X certainly wasn't it. The original Rocket wasn't it. I'm not even sure you'd call the original Rocket a super shoe, but anyways, this is a legit.
Any of them ever were.
Any of them were. This is a legit. We're agreeing that this is a legit carbon-plated trail shoe. They are catching up. We both agree that they're not quite there, but they're almost.
You just called it a trail shoe.
Not a trail shoe. Sorry, my bad. How close? I guess if I'm asking in the super shoe wars, how close is Hoka right now to completely leveling the playing field? In your opinion?
I think. Well, so for one, I don't think Hoka is the first company to like level the playing field. It's Nike versus everyone. That's what it's been since 2016.
Yes, but Hoka's rolling it.
Hoka they've been second or third tier without doubt until now. Hoka has now jumped up. Like, I don't have an exact like hierarchy of brands, but like the big three that I would say I have true real super shoes are Nike, Asics, Adidas. All of like,
you're not putting Saucony in there?
I put them in the second tier because their foam's a little firmer. It just doesn't have that bounce and the energy return that I want. So I put them in that second tier. I also put Puma and New Balance in the tier with Saucony, because Puma and New Balance's, their foams are great, but they're still technically just a supercritical EVA. And until we're going full blown PIBA, that's what's going to jump them up. Then we had like Brooks, Hoka, Under Armour, Ultra, everybody else. Hoka just jumped up into the tier 1 category, in my opinion, with this shoe. After racing that 15K in it, I think they are ready to go up to bat with Asics, Nike, Adidas with this shoe. It feels that
so fast.
Good. It feels that good. I think Hoka did it. If you didn't love the fit of those other shoes, this one is absolutely then worth the try. Would you race in it? Like, what is there any distance that like you wouldn't race this shoe in? Would you run a road ultra in
I've been waiting.
Yeah, like what's your
I've been waiting to answer this question. Yes to everything you just said. And in addition, if we ever had a hypothetical, like, would you burn a match on this shoe in a trail race? And maybe we're talking about it right now. I would burn a match for this shoe in a long trail ultra. Like, if I'm signed up for the Javelina 100 in October 2023, I am at the start line with this shoe.
Because this shoe exists, does that increase your chances of signing up for a race like the Javelina 100 solely because you want to see what it'll be like to run 100 miles in the shoe?
100%.
See,
that's how it actually makes me.
Yeah, that's how I felt about the Alphafly in the marathon.
This shoe makes me want to like, like the stop, drop, and roll. Like, I want to just stop. I want to drop everything and go run roads for like 4 months. This shoe just like made me love roads.
Yeah. And would you agree that there's no shoe like that yet in trail? Like,
definitely
the difference between a road trainer and a road super shoe, I don't think that there's a jump like that in trail yet.
We have not reviewed it yet, but the only shoe in trail that has gotten me almost as excited as this shoe is the Hoka Tecton X, the new one.
The new X2. Yeah. And I don't think it's going to be the same jump though.
No, I'm
sure we'll review that shoe, but that shoe's definitely be exciting, but like it's the same underfoot as the first one. So it's like, you already know what that's going to feel like. It just gets a new upper. Whereas like this got totally revamped everything. It was like they went from like the 2022 Honda Civic to the 2023 Honda Civic, except someone bought the 2023 Civic and realized they put like a 800 horsepower V10 in it. And it was just like, oh, this is not the same as it was last time. That's how this Rocket X2 is.
I got to say one more thing. There has been only one other shoe in the history of my trail running career that I have wanted to add in droves to my trail running fallout shelter if Armageddon happens and all the stores close down. There's no more shoes. The first was the Ultra Duo. I bought 12 pairs of the Ultra Duo. This is a shoe that I would buy 12 pairs for.
Wow, you better take out a second mortgage on your house or something. I'm assuming you were going to just about ask me would I race in it. And I did race in it. And for marathon, like a road marathon and shorter, I would not race in it. I'm dropping that bomb. I wouldn't. Because as personally for me, with my slightly narrow foot, I still like the Vaporfly and the Alphafly a little bit better. But those shoes are very narrow under the heel. They're very narrow under the arch. They don't provide that much stability. I've been okay with it. So I like that it's a little bit softer and a little bit bouncier. This shoe's foam is, in the forefoot at least, it's a touch firmer than the Alphafly and the Vaporfly, or I guess Zoom X foam. But because I've raced in both the Nike shoes, I still like them just a little bit more. But I would not, like 0% chance I'm putting on the Vaporfly or the Alphafly for something like the Javelina 100. Both those shoes are too fragile. And the way the carbon fiber plate is set up in the Vaporfly, I know I will break an ankle. This shoe, though, with how much more stable it is, I could absolutely, I would choose this shoe for any road ultra that's, 50K and up. I would wear this for like 100 mile on the track. I would wear this at Tunnel Hill. I would consider wearing this at Javelina. So all of the road ultras, I would race in this, and maybe even some very, very light trail, I would race in this.
Right on.
Yeah. I mean, I guess we'll still include the value segment.
Please.
It's a super shoe. It's $250. That is what the super shoes cost.
Because carbon's so expensive, right?
Yeah, I know. It's ridiculous. It's crazy. That's just, it's that price quality relationship. If it is like, it's in that tier one of super shoes. So for those looking from a fit standpoint for just a little bit more stability, maybe just a smidge more room in that forefoot, or the Hoka fan that's been waiting for this Hoka super shoe. It's worth every dollar. The cool thing about these PIBA foams is they're actually very durable. Like, I've put over 400 miles on a Vaporfly, and it doesn't feel as good as mile one, but it still feels like pretty nice. Like, you're going to get a decent amount of running out of this shoe, assuming you don't scuff your feet, because in the heel, there's not much going on there. I do worry a little bit on trails if like this channel is going to catch like a pine cone or rocks or something. We'll see. I haven't taken it across any dirt yet, but I think from a value standpoint, you get what you get out of a true super shoe for $250. What do you think?
100%. I mean, yeah, I'm so price insensitive with this shoe. This is just an example of something that's so well built. It performs exactly, well, it goes above and beyond my expectations. I'm price insensitive.
Can you really put a value on a smile?
For everything else, there's MasterCard.
For this shoe, there's MasterCard. But yeah, I mean, it's a really fun one. And I think we should do a short follow-up video once we actually get some trail miles on it and just report back and see, like, great idea, horrible idea. We'll find out. If you want to try these shoes out and your local run specialty shop doesn't have them, use our link below and try the Hoka Rocket X2 from our friends over at Running Warehouse. Your purchase does support the channel, and it does allow us to do more reviews like this. But yeah, I mean, we're going to be able to get this shoe review out kind of right as the shoe launches. So it'll probably take a few days for people to start chiming in, but we want to know what you think. You know, what did you think of this shoe? How did it compare to other super shoes you've worn? What are you going to race this shoe in? And if you thought,
what's the debate question in the comments?
Is it better than the Alphafly? That's the question I want to know. Like, did you like this more than the Alphafly, or, I mean, really any other super shoe? But I feel like, as right now, I feel like the ones that are holding the crown is that Vaporfly and the Alphafly. So is this Hoka's Alphafly killer? I want to know. If you thought this video, the shoe review, added some value to your life, be sure to like this video. If you want more content like this, please subscribe to the Conversational Pace YouTube channel. We appreciate it. We will see you. You know, we usually see you out on the trails, but now we might see you out on the roads.